This is another episode of Source Wall, episode 18, with your boy Kojay and 44.
Hey, what's good, everybody? How's it been? Been a pretty eventful day, depending on your time zone.
Exactly, and for you, listener, we are recording this at 9:26 Pacific Standard Time, Wednesday, July 1st. And Ray Fisher has dropped an interesting post, and he was speaking out against Jeff Johns.
We don't usually say dates. That was kind of weird, but I feel like
I figure it's kind of nice
said the date.
With
You're
current
doing
events.
new things now, switching it up.
Yeah, we're switching up. We got a theme song, thanks to Corbin. Oh man, I'm brain farting.
See, now you're making us do too much, and now you're making us keep track of time and dates. Like, we already got the theme song. Now there's too much going on now.
All right, erase it. We're just gonna do what we want. But this is July 1st.
Yeah, we'll try the dates again next time and see if it fits. You know. But yeah, shout out to Corbin now. That's the man right there.
Yeah, appreciate that song. It's beautiful.
He's big in the the rap scene, hip hop scene. So hopefully, you feel me, that he passes that down in his bloodline and everything, and he one day he births a legendary MC. You feel me? Maybe his son or his son's son or his son's son, but you know how that should go. Shout out to Corbin. You feel me?
Huge shout out to
Corbin Phoenix. But anyway, we are going to be leading into this talking about the Ray Fisher stuff, and then we're going to just talk some bullshit afterwards, because why not? And if y'all haven't heard, we'll do a setup and just for the people that haven't heard, but Ray Fisher actually posted on Twitter a few days ago, the 29th, where he says he would like to forcibly retract every bit of this statement, and it plays a video of maybe that all of you have seen, some of you have seen, of Comic-Con. I don't know when this maybe this is 2019 Comic-Con, I forgot.
No, that had to be before Justice League, so it had to be 2017.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Except for 2017, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
I'm trying to look it up right now so I can play it for y'all.
Either way, in this clip, he pretty much says that that Zack Snyder, that Joss Whedon is cool, I guess, and Zack Snyder picked a good guy to come and clean up the film for him afterwards, and I think it's gonna be great. And he comes out and says I would like to take a moment to forcibly retract every bit of this statement. And this was kind of big at the time. It got 18K likes, good amount of retweets and everything, and people were clearly talking about this throughout, not just the DC fandom, but this just spread to multiple fandoms and multiple outlets. There was even other people that worked on the film, even on this day, that came out in support of Ray Fisher and backing him. One being the actress who played his mother in Justice League. And there was also an actress who I think they said was assistant director too, who was the stunt double for Wonder Woman. And people have been saying that was the same actress who did I guess had to do the stunt double scene where Flash falls on Wonder Woman. I think
the body double.
That had
Those ones are actually called body
by
doubles.
Me yet.
Yeah.
But apparently she was the one that had to take that out. And she said something about that and saying I back this, and people were saying oh man, this is interesting. You feel me? It's shit is happening. There's rumblings going on, and shit is snowballing and everything. What's gonna happen next? Obviously, then there's other people saying oh, Ray Fisher's about to destroy his career. Why is he doing all this? Everything was going so good.
Honestly, everything was not. I think things were. It felt like, in my opinion, he was blacklisted, and because he was cut out, and whatever treatment around the time, he didn't seem very. Something was off, and even when he said that Joss Whedon's a great guy to do, in the clip he showed. Watch his eyes. And I'll try and
Yeah,
put a clip for y'all. But
his eyes was
were
not. I know. I
sad.
seen it. I watched it many times, even before this day. I know.
Yes, something was off. He felt
If
like
you just
he
looking
bit
at the
his
last
tongue.
3 seconds when he says it, he's like, and then he looks over at Jason Momoa, like, bro, you just watch the top of his face. You can just clearly tell he's like he's talking bullshit. Like he's just like
Yeah, he
that's why he
knows he
wrapped it
said
up
a
so
lie.
quick. He looked at him like, yeah. So how was that? Like, all right, you
Mm-hmm.
feel me? Like, they're
And it
promoting
was a
they're
sad
promoting a
look.
movie.
Yeah.
You feel me? You're the promoting thing. Like, what's he gonna say right then? Like, oh man, And at the same time, you got to think about it that they made him talk. You feel me? For the most
Mm-hmm.
part, you feel me? Like the rest of them, they said even vaguer shit. You feel me? He was really the only one that you could say, based on what he said, that brought it all together. If he didn't say that, the whole thing would have came off funny. You feel me? Like
Mm-hmm.
if Ray Fisher saved that promotion that day by just saying that one bullshit line that Zack Snyder brought him on. He's cool. He's cool. Got to clean up the job. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, and that's what I mean. That's why if you look, the way he looks over at Ray Fisher, you feel me? I mean, at Jason Momoa immediately after he said it, you can tell it's like, all right, I did it.
Yep.
That's all they're getting. That's all they're getting from me.
Yep.
and then Jason Momoa just looking at the ground like, oh my god.
Now,
I
now,
can't believe this man literally had to sit next to me talking this bullshit right now.
now for press conferences, they treat this like a press conference, really. And
Yeah,
a
you
lot of the
do.
times, the corporation, uh, every now and then, or all the time, or sometimes, or rarely, whatever it is, they tell the talents to, at some point, say this and that and this and that, and then you'll be good and say whatever you want on everything else, and don't say this and this and this. There's a whole guideline of rules. This is actually work. These guys and girls are hired to, um, work and promote the film. This is work. They're not just hanging out and going, "Hey, I love you, fans," which they do. They do love us. I'm very sure of that. It's just that this is also part of the work, the interaction, and I see it a lot being a fan of K-pop and also pro wrestling. When they, do their little conventions and all that. It's a lot of work. Not just a meet and greet, but this is like a press conference. So when he said that, it looked like he had to say it, because even after he said it, it didn't feel right. He looked to the left, saw Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa saw him. He nodded, kind of like, "Yep, you said it. Got it out of the way. You don't have to do it again." But there was just a sadness because he knows it. It looks like there's some history in his face. Like you can see, his
Yeah,
eyes don't lie. That's what I love about Ray Fisher.
yeah.
As an
And
actor, his eyes
let's
do
switch
not
it
lie.
over
He's
for a
very
second too.
sincere.
Speaking of his eyes and his lip, go over to Ben Affleck. You can use Ben Affleck as you feel me, as a scapegoat too, and say like, oh well, Ben Affleck said a few nice things about Whedon. Ben Affleck was supporting it. Ben Affleck, he did. But then if you want to be really real and stop going off the corporate promotional bullshit, if you watch all those playback of Ben Affleck saying things about Joss Whedon, Justice League at the time, or even Jeff Johns, like, bruh, dude is clearly gassing. He clearly is not off it. You feel me? Even, especially if you go back to the time when Justice League was coming out, he was talking like, oh yeah, Whedon and Johns, they're cool guys, and things we got some ideas, like anyway, like he didn't even care. You feel me? It's like he had no passion. Like he was literally talking BS. Like you feel me? Then you look at this face, and that's where the whole sad flag shit extended. Cause you feel me? It wasn't really in the beginning when he was playing Batman, because they tried to take his role and then extend it into real life, where it was like, oh look, he's playing like a broken, beaten Batman. But then BVS came out, and then the JL stuff happened, and then after JL, he was really fucking depressed. You feel me? And then when you see him on that run, and you see him doing that to promotional stuff, you can see right through him. He's sitting there like a zombie. They're like, oh, what do you think, Ben? Like, and then he just wakes up like, oh yeah, and then he just says like some robot line about Whedon is cool and Justice League is gonna be such a good movie, and can't wait till it comes out. And then he just puts his head back down and turns off. Like you're like looking around like, huh? What the fuck's wrong with this guy? You feel me?
And we've seen him before. He's a filmmaker
if you're gonna
himself.
take that and say like, all right, if you're gonna believe what Ben Affleck is saying, and then believe what Ray Fisher is saying, is like that makes no sense. You can clearly just take based off what Ben Affleck's reaction is and how he's coming, that probably what Ray Fisher is saying is BS too. You feel me? Like at the time, you know what I mean? Like you feel me? And, even recently, when he did the interview for his movie that came out a few months ago.
The Way Back.
Where he mentioned Jeff Johns and he talked about, The Way Back, where he mentioned Jeff Johns and he talked about the Batman and all that. Like, dude, like these people act like, you feel what I mean, like Hollywood was created yesterday. He gave a lame ass PR response. Like, oh yeah, I was working on it with Jeff Johns and everything, and he's a cool guy, he's an alright guy, but I just couldn't crack the script, and I just moved on. It was like, huh? And then the dude next to him, the actor next to him, even said like, "Did you know about this?" You feel me? Like, if you base the reaction of them sitting next to him, you feel me? And then Ben Affleck, you can tell that he's gassing. You feel me? He just said some like, "All right, that's my response." Moving on to the next question. You feel me? This dude is a class act actor. He's not about to go on interviews that he knows is about to be spread all over the world and be like, you know what? Like, honestly, I wasn't off working with Jeff Johns. The project fell through. I had a script for the idea. They came in and wanted to change my script. I said I don't want to do it anymore, and I left. Yep. You know how much like publicity and, you feel me, headlines and articles that would create? It's like dirt. You feel me? Like, even at the same time, Ray Fisher, they say he can do something like this. You feel me? Because his career is not really built up yet, so it can go either way.
Taken off like the others.
Exactly. It can go either way for him. He can say this and then nothing can happen for him. Or he can say this and then his career can just keep going and it's like, yeah, well, I said it. What you gonna do? And then he can just keep getting roles and keep getting roles. You feel me? Maybe in the future he may not be able to take certain stances like this, you feel me? But right now he's able to do this. He don't have to move like Ben Affleck or like Henry Cavill. Because he's not Ben Affleck or Henry Cavill. He's Ray Fisher. You feel me? But at the end of the day, if you look at how Ben Affleck was acting in 2017, and actually take that seriously and think that what he was saying was honest, you're lying to yourself. Like, dude was promoted a movie. You feel me? Like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, this is really not surprising at all. Even on top of that, like, I haven't really heard any of the other actors as far as Momoa, Ezra Miller, you feel me, Gale, or anything say anything good about Whedon at any point. I haven't, not once. Like,
silence is golden right there.
Yeah, that shit has never.
Talk about Snyder, they can't. It's automatic. They can't hold back.
Exactly. So it's just some interesting things that point out there. Could moving forward with all this is that like a lot of this was already in the air. You feel me? Where people were seeing through this, and it was really the journalists, it was really the bloggers and the Stan fans that that love towing the corporate line and believing everything that comes out in the corporate memo. That's not what happened. They said it right here in this article, or even it right here. It's like, do you believe? Did you see? Look at this WB propaganda. This is the truth. Like y'all sitting here believing all this WB PR propaganda. You feel me? That they just push out just so so their movies can make money, and there's no controversy behind it. Simple as that. But moving forward to today, where Ray Fisher, because I guess people were talking about this for for a little while, it bubbled up, and he were talking about like, wow, that's kind of a thing to say that he retracted statement and and all that, and like I said, it spread to multiple fandoms. They were writing articles about it, and people were talking about the ramifications of this, I guess. But then
there won't
today,
be any ramifications.
Ray Fisher called out Joss Whedon, Jeff Johns, and John Berg in a tweet today.
That's huge. That tells me there's a power change.
It's almost at 50K likes right now, and almost at 18K retweets. Like, and he says Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of Justice League was gross, abusive, and unprofessional. and completely unacceptable. He was enabled in many ways by Jeff Johns and John Berg. And then he puts accountability over entertainment. And a lot of people, it's getting really big. People are rallying behind this. They're talking about this now, and there's a lot of people even saying this is well deserved, that Joss Whedon been needed to been called out and get taken down. Plus, you feel me? For the most part, DC fans and excuse me, and the DC fandom tries not to, evolve, get too involved in modern politics. Like, we try to be a timeless fan base. You feel me? But as you all know, with everything going on, with the protests and everything, and certain police brutality, and even now leading into proper representation in Hollywood. And before anyone, makes any type of judgment call, because I know people feel a lot of ways about the blackface thing and their favorite comedies getting their blackface episodes pulled, which I think is stupid. But you have to understand that you gotta let the black people get the W on this one, because to be honest, a lot of these people in Hollywood who do claim to be, before I say this, I don't lean either way on the political spectrum. I'm not Republican or Democrat, leftist or right at all. You feel me?
Ditto.
I'm black nationalist all day. You feel me? I rock with being black. I support black people, and I want to see black people win. All the rest of y'all stay to your own devices. Anyway, you feel me? With that being said, with all that being said, I am the type of person that believes that the representation in Hollywood, especially when it comes to the leftists that have a lot of power in Hollywood, has been very two-faced. You know what I mean? And I'm very happy to see a lot of these people who I am going to call out, who are liberals and leftists, who have been claiming for decades on top of decades to stand for representation and stand for diversity, and you feel me, and just making proper and good films, you feel me, in general, where year after year they make films where with menstrual type black characters, with coonism, you feel what I mean? They treat Asian characters like garbage, you feel what I mean? And then I don't even want to get into the thing of sexism and anything, because we haven't even dealt with how Hollywood, you feel me, really does treat people and characters who are not white, and definitely when it comes to black people. And it's a damn shame that even in the fucking modern age that you still got these dumbasses who, yes, are the same people who run around and talk about all this activist bullshit, who then go on their fucking comedy shows and, you feel me, on their talk shows and all this stupid shit and do blackface and do all this racist stupid shit. So I'm not going to be the one to sit here and say like, oh, none of this stuff should be taken down. As far as how I feel about films like, Gone with the Wind, just throw a disclaimer on it. It's whatever. It's an old film. We know. You feel me? You throw a mean disclaimer on it. Let them know. But we ain't going to go into the past and be ripping down old films. But as far as the modern stuff, it's all up for grabs. If y'all was doing bullshit and y'all stuff in the modern age, y'all done. You feel me? With that being said, and this leads into a conversation of representation in Hollywood, where you have all these, Hollywood type people claiming that they fight for representation and they're all for it, and then they hop in their movie and throw racist nonsense in it, and then they throw blackface in it, and mind you, this is the modern age. You feel me? Like, this is not back in the day. You feel me? Like, you don't get the pass. If it's up to like 1995 to now, you don't get the pass. And that you can say to me like, what about the 80s? The 80s gets the pass. Sorry. But if it happened to like from like 95 to 96 to now, y'all knew better.
Especially when they had like even shows. I was even watching Babylon 5, and they had they broke all barriers down there. They didn't really bother with who they were casting. They mixed it up as best they could. And to go on top of what you said, I too don't identify with left, right, whatever. I think that's all a game and it's all a bunch of bullshit. Because like you said, a lot of people say that Hollywood is the left, and I agree. However, I don't even think they're entirely, maybe politically or whatever, but even that I don't step in. But I do remember many times I was told by multiple casting directors that when I say multiple, I mean a specific 3, that they would tell me Look, we're making films for white people, and I going through the casting situation, I could see that they were casting demographics according to what is uh, perceived as accurate according to um, uh, the Western white privilege type of outlook on them. Like they want to include ethnics, but it has to be on one that's recognizable to making films for white people, pretty much. And
Yeah, they pretty
that
much want
bothered me big time.
sterilized POCs, like sanitized POCs,
Now you,
and the way I describe it in nowadays in you know in TV shows and movies, they want black characters or non-white characters that act like, you know, black people that be around white people in real life. You feel me? You feel me?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they
It's
don't.
like it's kind of like they
It's a
want
weird type of representation.
yeah. It's
It's
a lot of
weird.
times it's like it's they want to see the ethnic groups behave the way they want them to be
Yeah.
acceptable in quote quote
Yep.
society. Now, when you get and then there's a bunch of people who don't buy or cater to that bullshit, you know, because we live in the world, we know how we react and act and
They
behave, and
just
we go
make
off of
the
that.
movies. You feel me?
Yeah, we
Like,
make the
and
movies, we
they
stick to
make
the
a good
truth.
story and they utilize their characters well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're
Yeah,
right.
because
There are.
there is a caste system, and it's stupid. It shouldn't be there, but people who buy into it and sell it are the only ones that believe it. And there are other people who know better and want to make the truth of stories, representation, and all this, and then you get this clash when people are trying to please the masses and false perceptions, and then people who just want to tell the truth. Case in point, we get Zack Snyder, who's being creative. Uh, he casts very different, you know, very different from like the MCU. Like that's like very token in line, I feel. And
Yeah.
you know, he's uniquely diverse all the time. Like especially like even going like to Flash, you got a lot of times you'll see like gay characters in films, but they're always acted by straight performers. And
Yeah.
gay actors have a hard time getting jobs, and or they do, but
Yep.
they lie about it, and that's another podcast. But so you get Zack Snyder, he casts a gay
But
actor to play a straight character. That's beautiful.
before
That's
you move on
representation.
from that though, let's
Then Cyborg.
unpack that in a sense where, like I said before, where in Hollywood they have a very left leaning stance. You feel what I mean? Of the inclusivity and all that. But it's been a well known thing that, you feel me, like that if you're out in Hollywood that you are gonna get less work, way less work. For me, yeah, there's hella gay people in Hollywood, even executives and all that shit. But like
But
that
they
doesn't
get
have nothing.
kept
That
where they like to keep them. That's safe
Yeah,
and
exactly,
acceptable
and that
in a
has nothing to do with the
stereotypical pot.
demographics of what they're trying to push and sell. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they have no problem with you can be fucking a donkey in your mansion, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, if that comes out to the public and your image doesn't fit the type of image that they're trying to push for actors in this type of age, then it's not really it's just not going to work, and then they're just going to fall off on you. Like, and that's been going on for a while, and that's why people say like, oh yeah, if Hollywood loves gay people so much, then why isn't there so many more gay actors, playing these gay roles and all this shit? And you're right, because there is a lot of gay people in Hollywood, but and it's really because a lot of those people is because they're out. You feel
Mm-hmm.
me? And you feel me? They're like, I don't want to be fucked up or anything, but they can't push that shit to the masses. They know they can't. Like, America is is America. You know what America is. They make it nowadays in a modern age on TV. They make it seem like, oh yeah, we're hella progressive now. No, we're not. like they already put it to poll. They put it to poll many. Why do you think that they don't put gay marriage up for vote? You feel me? Like, because they put that to poll many times, and they always lose every time. You feel me? Like, every time. That's
Oh,
why
I
they've been
know,
trying
because
to.
I'm
That's
I'm
why they have
promoting
been
that
trying to
for
get.
a win.
Yeah, they've been trying to get gay marriage in there through different ways, through like the Supreme Court and all that and everything, because they know if they just ask the populace, "Yeah, do you support this or not?" and majority of the people are just gonna say nah. and that's just the truth. You feel me? Like that's the truth of what the matter, and Hollywood knows that, you know, and then they're gonna you know, they're gonna hold that line. Like even for many years, people said like even people like Kevin Spacey was gay. You feel me? Like and you know and Kevin Spacey is a big actor that's been around for a long ass time. You feel me? And why didn't and like if he was so big in the shit, why didn't he just come out and just what people have really cared that much is like yeah they would have. That's why he didn't say nothing for mad long. Like for real, like they would have super cared. He would have lost his stain and all that shit. But that's besides the point. Like going into, you know, as far as a whole, you know, as how they treat representation in Hollywood, in the industry, and all that, especially in the modern age, is very half-assed. Like it's very half-assed, and it's actually very, it's not too far away from what it used to be. Like, you know, they just have a very better way of cleaning it up so it doesn't seem so bad. And that does go into the Justice League film in the sense that they cut out pretty much, you know, not only all the black characters, but all the characters that were, you know, all the non-white characters, you know, for the most part.
They took all their thunder away and got rid of them completely too, most of them. And if we are really supposed to be progressive, you know, and creative, then why all these restrictions? You know what I mean? It's because I think they still market to that certain demographic, and which is kind of hypocritical because it's like, okay, so if this is going to be the part and area that's going to be very progressive. I know we do see strides here and there, little ones, but when it comes to the big picture, oh, blockbuster, everyone's going to see it. Then, boom, it goes back to the old school default, and then the token characters here and there. And it's like, whoa, you got a black American who's going to be the heart of the story? No, we can't have that. No one's going to buy that. We don't want to encourage that shit.
And that goes into what Ray Fisher says about accountability over entertainment. And that's something that's been bubbling and growing for a while, which is true. And that's what I said prior about how it's like, yeah, you're going to have to let all these people take all these L's out here. And it's the main thing about this that's been perpetuating this, and the reason why we haven't been able to do this sooner is because all you motherfuckers supporting goddamn stan culture. You feel me? Yeah, motherfuckers is supporting stan culture and corporate ball washing all day on the fucking internet, on YouTube, on everything, everywhere. You feel me? Like, it's ridiculous. You feel me? And then when these fucking creatives and all these people behind the scenes that you don't even keep track of the fucking credits. Half y'all don't even keep track of the credits of who's making this stuff. And then when they do some bullshit and when people come to you and call them out like, yo, why are you watching this dude's stuff? Why are you supporting this guy? Like, what the hell? Why does this guy still have a job? You feel me? Like, you're like, oh man, y'all want to sit here and watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer all day. Y'all want to sit here and watch Avengers and all this shit. You feel me? Like, y'all want to sit here and watch all and just indulge in all the entertainment.
Well,
and
no change actually happens.
Yeah, why exactly? Why no real change actually happens? Y'all don't want there to be any accountability for this nonsense. It's nonsense. Motherfuckers is crying about people pulling, you feel me, blackface episodes that were made in the 2000s, like 2010s. It's like, bro, why was this stuff even made? Who wrote this? And you like, that's what I mean. Everybody wants to sit up here and talk all like, oh man, all these liberals and all these SJWs, but when the liberals and the SJWs actually start getting what's coming to them, you're like, oh man, they're ruining my entertainment now. Huh? I thought this is what we all wanted. You feel me? Like, I thought we wanted to, like, all right, enough of this bullshit. Y'all have bullshit representation. Y'all have whack stories. Don't even get me started on the technical stuff with the filmmaking. We want all this shit to be better, you know. And then once it starts leading towards that time, y'all start siding with the studio. Y'all start siding with the corporations. Y'all start siding with the directors and you feel me, the filmmakers that are on some bullshit that made this bull. Like, oh man. You can't just do this. It's like, nah, man. Like, a lot of these guys about to be done out here. Like, cause it's true. Yeah, there's been no accountability and Kojay, you know that I'm big on this, because I talked to you about this a lot before too, and I talked to you guys about this in the chat, and even my friends in real life too. I go hard about this with my friends in real life. Like I'm like, yo,
Let it out, man.
check what
Speak
you
your
watching,
truth.
man. Like, don't get me wrong. You can be watching and check it out, and then find out like, oh, so and so murdered 10 children. They just come out of nowhere, and you just didn't know. But still, at the end of the day, check what you watching, man. Just don't be out here just watching and supporting all just as anything because it has your favorite character in it. You feel me? Or because Batman's in it, or Luke Skywalker's in it. You know what I'm saying? It's silly. Because the people, but the people behind this stuff, a lot of times these motherfuckers be scummy people. Just real scummy. Like
You'll have
people trying to
villains
tell you,
telling you stories of heroes. Do you really want that? You know
that's
what I
a
mean?
good way to put it.
Villains turn stories of heroes. Because even look at it, if the morality and the real themes of these characters, which is actually very profound, DC, Marvel, across the block, right? And if you really commit to these themes and put it out there and focus on, not just make some wishy-washy stuff, just to make another, kind of Transformers type of blockbuster summer movie, you could actually progress things forward. Because people look at a lot of the MCU fans back in, like, I want to say 2016, for me, my experience were toxic as hell. I'm not talking about online. I'm talking about going to theater. End of Doctor Strange, some couple gets up and they want to walk to their car because everyone's sitting down like, oh, okay, we want to beat traffic. Some person is yelling, hey, this is a Marvel movie. Sit down for the end credits. It's like, you just watch a movie of good versus evil. Why are you being so mean to these people and telling them what to do in their own free time? You know what I mean? They bought the ticket, they could do what they wish. It's like little weird things like that, and they, of course, that's just one tiny example, but there's plenty others. And then it's just that if that's the type of mindset that gets something from the film, then the film failed, or it's not really doing the thing. Because you look at the comics, they are progressive. They do reflect what's going on in the world today too. They're very diverse, it's a medium, and they speak a lot of voices for a lot of different people. And then if the films actually really want to be comic book accurate, they would do what Zack Snyder was doing, is actually make something the most of it, and give opportunity to people. And I want to go back a bit because I am for like the gay marriage stuff, and I think that should be legal. But obviously, it'll take a while to get there, and people are fighting to make that happen, and we can't get there when we're encouraging and putting money and investing in limitations. And I feel Justice League is like an example of enforced limitation just to squeeze a buck and propaganda and screw people over for like their performance, their storytelling, their representation, and all that. So if we are really going to be progressive for everybody, then we can't be bowing down to these corporations who just want to feed into some old school caste prejudice system just to keep the money flowing good just for them and keep everyone in their place, because they can't handle that.
Yep.
We can't move forward if we keep making films with these restrictions and under these assholes.
Yeah.
You don't give a shit about you. They don't even give a shit about the characters, I feel.
Yeah, they don't, like, a lot of these people in this industry don't even give a shit, you feel me, when all this stuff comes to light. You know what I mean? Like, even today, you had Alan Tudyk, you feel me, the dude who was in on Firefly, Whedon show, and who plays Mr. Nobody on, I guess, Doom Patrol, which is a good role because he is a fucking nobody now. He retweets today saying, because this was picked up by Variety, retweets a Variety post where it says Ray Fisher accuses Whedon of abusive and unprofessional behavior on Justice League set. And he says, wasn't there, but I've known Josh for 17 years, and honestly, I can't imagine it, and I have a pretty good imagination. Like what? I
Yeah,
have
I
a pretty
saw
good
that too.
imagination. Like, bruh, fuck your goddamn imagination. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
But here's
Like, who
another thing
asked you?
too. It's like,
And that's, you see what I mean with that?
who's to
And
say
then
this guy's
it's
a
not,
moral
I'm
person?
not done yet. It's not. It
Oh,
gets
my bad.
better. It
Yeah.
gets better. And guess who liked this tweet?
Who? James
James
Gunn?
Gunn.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I did see that.
And you see what I mean with these fucking scumbags, man. These scumbags in the goddamn industry that stick together and everything. They got James Gunn over here. This dude is over here making pedophile jokes, joking about fucking Justin Bieber and fucking raping little children and all this other stupid wild shit.
Ugh.
You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And
Yeah.
they Disney fire him from his job, and what these dumbasses at the old WB regime do? They fucking hire this goofball weirdo. You feel me? You hire this goofball fucking weirdo, and then when you got moments like this, where Zack Snyder and the cast of Justice League is getting their redemption and all this shit, Ray Fisher calling this shit out, and this motherfucker over here liking and retweeting tweets from Mr. Nobody, this shit. Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon, homie. Feel me? Like, fuck this guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and fuck anybody, you feel me, who's backing this shit. You feel me? Like,
Right?
what are you talking about? You look goofy. You feel me? Like for real. And you have, I'm not going to go down the list of all these people because I'm not going to give them all a platform, but there's even more people. You got all these sellouts. Of course, you feel me? Movie blob, out here fucking towing the corporate line, being a fucking corporate sellout. Like, oh man, this is unprofessional. If we think about the studio and the corporation, what about Joss Whedon's career? It's like, eat a dick and go watch Avengers. Because a lot of you people, y'all are clowns. Yeah, a lot of y'all are the reason why there wasn't even a Black Widow movie a whole 10 years in the original MCU run. Like,
Yeah.
it's BG.
It's like an afterthought.
Y'all was cool with, you feel me, Black Widow getting groped up on and humped up on all throughout the Avengers films by Whedon. So I don't want to hear it. You feel me? Like, y'all are goofballs. You feel me? And then you got people like Whedon coming around acting like, you feel what I mean? He's holier than thou and shit. You feel me? And that's what I mean with this Hollywood stuff. Then he comes around like he's holier than thou, and he's some type of activist, and he's some type of feminist, and you feel me? Like all these other Hollywood dickheads do. Like, there's enough is enough with this nonsense. And then you got people out here supporting this nonsense. Cause that's the type of people y'all are. For like, didn't this dude's wife come out and say they dude was a scumbag too?
She sure did.
Even the Buffy fans is going in on Joss Whedon right now, talking about how he fired an actress from the show because she got pregnant. Like, bruh.
Yeah, I heard about
if
that.
y'all don't stop,
I remember that.
If y'all don't stop, for real. And then you got guys like Zack Snyder, who just does good things and just a good man in general. Doesn't run his mouth, doesn't brag about it. He's not an annoying douchebag. And he definitely,
Just a regular normal guy.
Yeah, regular
but
normal
he's not
guy.
part of
They give
any
him all
club or
this crap.
circle.
They give him all this crap, man. Like, it's ridiculous. And yeah, David Ayer, he hinted at Whedon also. Jeff Johns also changing some lines in Suicide Squad for I think Katana. So like all this shit is slowly unfolding and coming out and all that. And that's why I want to keep the conversation in the middle of like, yeah, it is, and it is. This is very great that all this stuff is coming out and everything, but we also got to keep the focus on the stands, the weirdos, and all the like enablers and people who support all this nonsense coming out now saying like, oh man, I don't respect Ray Fisher now. Oh man, this is unprofessional. Oh man, you guys got what you wanted. Now you're gonna start coming after Whedon. So, but these people don't even consider that. Yeah, if the man is saying this much about it, and he's putting himself out there that much on this subject, then maybe there's some truth to it.
Mm-hmm.
Since he did work on the fucking movie, like he is fucking Cyborg in the movie.
Especially
This is
because look
not
at the
just he's
times.
you're making it
Think,
seem like he's playing Lucius Fox or something. He's Cyborg in the movie. He was
yeah,
standing
he's
next
on
to
the
all
main
the
roster.
characters.
So here's
So
also
what? He's
another
not
thing.
gonna know?
People are not realizing that things are changing. Like at WB, uh, every company is experiencing a loss of money at some level because of the quarantine and the pandemic and whatnot. And there are some loopholes because across the block in animation, comic books, pro wrestling, there's a lot of people voicing out against people who've assaulted them. And my viewpoint on that is that a lot of these people don't have enough money to keep their attorneys and lawyers on the payroll to be keeping these people, keeping people and their claims in order. Because some people make a claim and then they'll, they'll work it out. Because those people are expensive. I went to a CBS after party, and it was mostly CBS. There were other. It was supposed to be an industry thing, blah blah blah. So I went. My boss at the time, they were like, "Yeah, you could go to my place. I don't want to go. I'm tired." I was like, "Sure, I'll go. I'll mingle." And I figured I'd meet other people in the industry and talk about film or whatever, or just meet a new friend or whatever. I just want to learn. I'm a sponge, right? I get there, and 80% of everyone there are lawyers and attorneys. And so I started talking with them, and it turns out that a lot of them get a lot of business and huge clients to protect their back, to make sure lawsuits are kept hush hush, or to solve them real quick without even having to go to court. And those people are pricey. Even one guy, he liked me. He was like, "Yo, here's my card," and I'll work for it. I was like, "Oh, I don't see myself again needing this, but thanks anyways. I mean, how much it costs?" And he told me some crazy numbers. Like, that's a lot of money. No wonder you guys make bank or
Yeah,
whatever.
damn.
But that exists, and with the pandemic and everyone cutting costs because they're not making as much revenue now. Even my work, we're not making as much as before, but we're kicking in. Well, we're service workers, so whatever. But you see a lot of businesses, they're not making a lot of money, so they have to cut corners, and some might have to let their attorneys and lawyers go. And then we see these people now free to voice up because the powers pushing them down may not be as strong as they were before. So now is a good time for people to say their truth if that is the case of what's going on and what's happened. And then maybe they can get some justice without having to bite their tongue and all that, because you saw in the video of when Ray Fisher said, exactly what we said. He looked uncomfortable. His eyes were like kind of sad, and he looked to Jason Momoa, and he was like, collecting his thoughts. Because as soon as Ray Fisher said what he was told to say, in my opinion, what he had to say, Jason Momoa, he was kind of moving a little bit, but then he froze, kind of like he paused. Kind of like, oh, that's uncomfortable to hear because we know the truth. That's what I'm saying. Because also, when you go to Jason Momoa, when he was talking about the Snyder Cut in an interview, he said something like, it sucks in our industry. We can't say what we want to say. And he says, fuck yeah, I want to see it. Because that's probably the only thing he really can say, other than anything else that was true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's why there's a lot of validation in here. And I don't think he's injuring his career. In fact, I think Justice League hurt his career more. Because it's like, yeah, shut up, do whatever. You're just whatever actor. We cut your role down, nah. And then, he's been very careful and selective of his roles ever since. But you could tell he's beaten down because when he said thank you, he was very emotional. You know what I mean? And that was a lot of stress. And
Yeah.
that's something I recognize too. Just in any job where, you're just treated like shit. Or any project or whatever. So, him ruining his career? No. In fact, we've this movement has proved that we have slapped the corporate face with the truth, whatever, whatever they bought or whatever they lost. We have the win, and this is an opportunity to win more because not only were we just trying to get this film just for us, artistic integrity, and for me, is a return to honest filmmaking and a step away from malpractice filmmaking. Malpractice filmmaking with all the prejudice, all the ego, all the greed, all the mistreatment of people, that needs to go. And the Snyder Cut movement, to me, is a standpoint for all director's cuts, for all artistic integrity, and also treating your fellow co-workers and employees with respect and human dignity to focus on a project. That's what this movement means to me. And so when people voice up and do this, amen. That's the plan. You know, that's good. That's justice. Do it. Go for it. What you think?
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that 100%. You know, leading out of that and into something more alleged and controversial.
Ooh, what's up?
You know, I'm actually not gonna say this. I'm gonna think about if I say this girl's name before, but I'm gonna read what she said.
You can say this girl. I have the note that you want to talk about this.
But I'll say it after I read it, and I'll see how I feel. But
well, use the
either
force,
way.
Man.
There was a post underneath Ray Fisher's post about Jeff Johns. And, you know, I also put some context to this, that there have been some people, there's been a good amount of people, you know, saying that there could be some things bubbling up about Jeff Johns in the very near future. You know, I've been hearing that for a while, but people have been saying it more recently. But yeah, so this may not be that though, but this is something. So allegedly, this girl says under Ray Fisher's post that Jeff Johns used to flirt with me via DMs when I was 17, and I just figured he'd get exposed as a creep someday. But I never thought he could be a horrible person. Sorry you dealt with that, Ray. And then this got a lot of likes and retweets, and people are like, "Are you serious?" Proof, and dumbing down. You know, there are a few people in there that I know too.
Yeah, I saw a couple. But somewhere else is saying like, I noticed one of our buddies made a reply saying, if you have any proof that would help you, you know, it wasn't like kind of condescending to her.
I don't know who this girl is, but she has a lot of followers. Let me just say that. So.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. I don't know who she is either.
Yeah, so she's not no small account, but either. So she says, following a retweet of her prior tweet, I guess I should clarify since people are messaging me about it. And I didn't really think anyone would see this reply, but basically I was into comics when I was in high school. So I would reply to Jeff Johns' tweets, and he would DM flirty messages all the time. One time he tweeted about an auction, and one of the prizes was a lunch with him, and I replied saying I wanted to win, still underage. And he immediately DM'd me saying we can have lunch, quote. You know, what? I haven't thought much about it until today when someone put a tweet about him on the timeline. I didn't think any of it was weird because I liked his work. But now that I'm 24, looking back, it was very creepy. Don't prey on the underage fans, you weirdo. The end back to Strawberry Cow tweeting. I don't know what that part. I don't know what that part means, but
that might be her thing, man. Power to the strawberry cows.
Oh, that's what she said at the end. See, there was no comma there, but yeah, the end. Back to strawberry cow tweeting. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I want to point out the part where she says I didn't think any of it was weird because I liked his work. Now, that might seem small to some of y'all, but to me, that's actually a big thing because that's pretty much what all these Jeff Johns shows and all this stuff say about Jeff Johns is that, you know, his work. You know, and they pretty much, I guess they just overlook everything that people have said or possibly have heard about the guy. I don't know. It's weird. But, and Yeah, that it's I don't it seems she may have done the same thing too, but there were no fault on her because there's other people that do the same thing too that me and Kojay have been in with interaction with for a long time that that geek is I look at it like geeks that just want to live in the bubble. They can really care less about who's making it, who's putting it out, unless it's like really god awful. As long as it's good enough for them to consume, they'll just be happy and praise this person for making something good enough for them to consume, and then they'll
Mm-hmm.
just consume it and stop focusing on that person. All right, and that's what a lot of geeks do, especially in the comic book fandom and the CBM type world. Is that as long as they're getting the superheroes, then like that's what, the perfect example is James Gunn. It's like James Gunn is cool when he gets the pass because
He made
as
us
long as
laugh with
he made
Guardians.
us laugh and he makes our superheroes. So it doesn't matter that I guess it doesn't matter that he's making extremely inappropriate pedophile jokes and all this stuff, and he probably shouldn't be making any superhero films, even if they're rated R. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's weird
like
because he does get a pass. I have some of my friends who are well, got kids of their own and parents and good people and whatever. And if anyone else said that, they'd be like, and other people have said stuff like that and joked about them. And they're like, "Yo, you're out of line. That's so screwed up. Ew, gross." But then, ooh, when their director says it, it's like, he's just
yeah,
joking. He's just
he's
joking.
just jumping. But it's like I don't know.
Cause he,
We went on a tangent there about it a little bit, but I don't know what this tweet is gonna come about out to. If you want to read it yourself and see who it is, it's from a girl called at not Sophia Coppola. So if you want to read, her alleged, interactions with this man, she pretty much, she didn't. She called him a creep, but she's pretty much trying to say he's a pedo. So
mm-hmm.
he low key tried to push up when she was clearly underage. I guess so, and all this stuff, is coming out now, and all that is just.
Well, he was in the
It really
CW era around Buffy, around Dawson's Creek, around Smallville, and not just Allison Mack, but several other people were into like little sex clubs and stuff like that. So he's coming from that circle too. Keep in mind,
yeah, it's a good point.
you know, he comes
Yep.
from that generation or that little. I mean, it seems like things
He
may
would.
be different now or whatever, but at that time, from what we know with Allison Mack and all that, go back and see the paper trails on who's connected with who. Get an idea of what else is going on around there too.
Interesting. So you would say that? Would you say that Jeff Johns was connected to
I wouldn't say he was.
those
I would
dealings?
say I'm not surprised if he was.
Yeah, because he was definitely around. He
And
was, yeah.
some people are just not not morally all there. And they create their own rules because they have this power, this key to Hollywood. They have this gig. And a lot of people buy into it too. Like some people really think that you do have to whore yourself to get ahead or something like that. I disagree.
And yeah, you're right. And I know that Jeff Johns is the same type of guy as Whedon because he took the same type of angle and direction even when he got into the film. Like all his stuff is pretty much like Whedon stuff, where
Mm-hmm.
it's just like kind of like really crappy, like damn near like late like 90s early 2000 ish. You feel me? Type. You feel what I mean? Like soap opera dramas and shit. Like like all those shows that Berlanti makes and everything. Like they're very similar too, and it's like yeah, back in those days, you feel me? When those were going on, afterwards they did come out and say that there was some things going on set of those, those shows and everything, you know. So
And set
like,
is a safe place to do bad stuff because a lot of times closed sets are protected. Hush, hush, hush. Oh,
and yeah, and this is not really a thing where it's like, all right, you know, like Jeff Johnson's hired Whedon, or they're just kind of friends, or they were friends. Like, nah, they were good friends, you know. Before Whedon had all the juice in the stain, and you know, and Jeff Johns too, and they were good friends getting into Hollywood, and you know, getting into the business, I'd say, and in the business and up to now. You feel me? That's why, you know, it wasn't a surprise to me that they brought on Joss Whedon to do the reshoot, because I knew what was really happening. But it's like people are stupid though, and they just want to believe the corporate nonsense. It's like anybody could have told you that Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder are not friends. They were never friends. Like, what are you guys talking about? They're like on the total opposite side of Hollywood in some respects, as far as, you know, who they move with. Like, they don't like. Then all it took was one corporate exec and a few corporate execs and some not, and a few bullshit lines from Ray Fisher. I actually believe that. But the real truth is that Whedon is Jeff Johns' friend.
mm-hmm.
It's like how people try to say how, oh, Ben Affleck and Zack Snyder had beef. You know, that's why they had a falling out and Ben left. No, that's not what
No, that was
happened.
the lie they wanted you to believe.
Ben Affleck and Jeff Johns had beef. That's why Ben Affleck left.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh,
you
but
see
no
how
one can
Jeff
have
Johns
beef with
had.
Jeff Johns. No.
You see it, and that's what I mean. Because all these people were stupid, and they didn't want to believe that Jeff Johns was feeding bullshit information with his executive power to all these fucking comic book dumbasses that run all these dumbass comic book sites that think they know everything and they don't. Even like Collider and all that, and Batman on
Like,
film,
ugh.
and John Campea.
Ugh.
Like all these guys were getting fed false info on purpose, almost flipped info. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it was Zack Snyder's fault. He ruined the whole movie. The movie was whack. No, it wasn't. The movie wasn't whack. Actually, the executives like Zack Snyder's version better than Whedon's version.
Mm.
Jeff Johns said it was whack and convinced the other executives not to go with it. That's what happened. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
And
all
like,
the
well, you're
executives
the guy
started
who
like, no,
knows.
it was one executive. It was bitch ass Jeff Johns.
Fuck.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do all these other executives know about a Justice League movie to say like, oh, this movie's whack, it's unwatchable? Like, what do y'all know? Y'all thought the first Batman movie was whack. They don't make movies, and then here
Right?
comes Jeff Johns like, yeah, it is whack. It's like, no, Jeff Johns said it was whack. And he said he lied to them and said that, oh, I can Marvelize it for you, and I can bring Whedon in here, and we can be bringing in the Marvel bucks. And Marvel fans love Whedon, and all the comic book fans, they love him, and they love me. We'll get all the comic book bucks, like, and they failed.
Mm-hmm. Thank God.
And people are sitting like, oh, how do we know any of this stuff is true? But it's out there without proof. Oh, how do we know it's true? Do you not notice it says former executives? Former executives, John Berg and Joss Whedon, they got fired. I mean John Berg and Jeff Johns, and also on top of that, Joss Whedon got fired too. You didn't see
Mm-hmm.
it. You didn't see a Justice League
Amen.
2 from Joss Whedon, did you?
No.
You didn't see that Batgirl movie, did you? So,
Ugh. I'm actually glad that never happened.
obviously, what they did was so bad that WB let them go on the spot. And anybody that was associated with it, there was probably other people that lost their jobs that they had nothing to do with what they did because of their dumbass shit. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? This whole situation gives DC, no, it gives Warner Brothers what they've always wanted, is a one-up on Marvel. Now check it out. All this truths come out on how things are made. That's going to bring more respect and more appreciation to going back to what DCEU started with, which is DCEU doing its own thing. And as best as it can, in a cinematic way, as they've proven before with the Nolan films and other films before that, you know, focusing on comic books as films, and just being trailblazers again, not trying to do some cookie cutter shit. And now that they know that there's immoral reasons behind stuff, that gives DC more edge, in a good way, in the right way. It's like we're really going back to that awe we had when we saw like Man of Steel and any DC movie that really moved us, not just that one. It's like going back to that, not just going to what the zeitgeist of the ever changing trendy logic of what a comic book film should be, which a lot of people for a long time were expecting every film to be Marvel. Even some people going in to see a DC film, they're like, so when is Batman joining Avengers? You got like some dumb people, you know what I mean? And I think that's how some cookie cutter films thrive, you know what I mean? But we want more.
Yeah.
We know this. This is a culture. This is a saga, and it's so rich. And if you invest in it, like George Lucas investing in his Star Wars universe, the fruits will be beautiful,
Well,
and you
I
can
want to
profit,
say that
you can enjoy artistically
I
and
think
successfully.
I think that fandom, and I think that fandom, and specifically geeks in general, especially comic geeks, have a special type of naivety
Yeah.
that can be a blessing and a curse.
Mm.
Like, because we generally and not like a majority of us generally do want these films to just be good, and we really don't care about all the extra stuff and that the studio or Hollywood wants to put in, or the stuff that how it's gonna relate to the modern age. Like, we don't really care about that stuff. We just want the characters to be treated with as much care and love, and style, of course, too. Style is great as possible. Like, and that can be good to an extent when it comes to especially films like Justice League, where people aren't really looking at this as like, oh, an SJW thing, I guess, or take down the corporation or take down the man thing. It's just like, we just want a good movie. You feel what I mean? And because this movie does require people from all different walks of life to be a part of this, we want this to go well. You feel me? Like, it's not about just Cyborg's black, so he has to get his moment in his time, but it's about him being Cyborg. You feel what I mean? And he is a black actor, but because he's Cyborg and all that, he needs to get his love and respect just as much as Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman, and that goes for even characters like Iris West or just the Atom, or you feel me, Victor Stone. Like, we aren't looking at it like, oh, just feed us the comic book movies. You feel me? Like, we do want them to be the best they can be without us having to be so hands on about it.
Right.
And sometimes, to an extent, like, there are fans that are too far away from it, like, where like they just sit back and with their mouth open and whatever, and their eyes wide open too, and whatever just comes, they just let them smack it right in the face, and and it's like, oh, great, you feel me, and they just take it, you feel me, and they don't really care that much about how it's getting done or made, you feel me. They'll just judge it and take it as it comes, and that's fine too, to an extent. But there are other fans that take it overboard where it becomes a clash, and then when you have fans start seeing one side of fandom start seeing, like, all right, there's some issues going on here that need to be focused on and spoken about, and then you have another side of the fandom saying, like, oh yeah, you guys are shaking the boat, and you feel me, I'm trying to watch Batman, you feel me, like, and stop it, you feel me, and it's like, yeah, we on the other side, like, yeah, we know you're trying to watch Batman, but there's a drop in quality going on here. We're trying to get it worked out so we can get better Batman and better Superman and all that. On the other side of the thing, man, they're like, better, what do you mean? Batman's right here. What else do you want? Stop shaking the boat, and then we know Batman's here and we get it, but then it just goes on,
Right.
and and there's a nice middle ground in there somewhere. Like, that fandoms will find one day. But it is a thing that we all try to work through, and sometimes that's why I mean, even when it comes to the flip side of that, is that even though we do want a good film, sometimes we can also be ignorant to, you feel me, what it takes to get these films. And
Right.
we just say, oh, just make it good, and and then on the flip side of that, we complain about what's getting done, and we also don't put enough focus on the smaller details of things. Where when Justice League comes out, and then you're sitting there thinking like, I thought there would be more Cyborg in this movie, but it really wasn't. And then you tell your friend, or you bring it up to one of your friends online, and they just kind of play you out like, oh, what do you mean, man? It was Justice League movie. It's Cyborg. There wasn't really. He's just Cyborg. Like, we're about to be. Like, I guess you're right. And you think like, wasn't Iris West supposed to be in this movie too? It's like, oh man, like wasn't that the girl that was? They race bended her though. They probably took her out because they didn't want to do that. And it's like, oh. It's like, okay, I guess maybe you're right. Maybe. I didn't see, Perry White or anything either. It's like, dude. I'm just saying, man. It's like, I think about it. Isn't Superman supposed to have his black suit? And it's like, oh my God, man. Can't you just enjoy the movie for what it is? And it became a thing. You feel me? Where, like, people are browbeating other people because they're noticing these things, and they're like, wait. And then after a while, you sit there, you realize, like, wait, I don't feel like we got what we were supposed to get. I don't think I got what I paid for. And I would have realized it. I would have realized it sooner.
Advertised.
Yeah, if people would have just let me, come to this conclusion and just have my own free thought. But now that I have some time to think about it, and I have more evidence, I feel like I was ripped off. And that, like, things like that happen. Like, and it happened because, you weren't paying attention. Like, and maybe people would have called you out and said like, oh, you just want more Cyborg for SJW reasons, and Iris West isn't supposed to be black, and Superman still acts like Superman in this movie. He didn't act like Superman in the other movie, so it doesn't matter if his face is fucked up. It's like, you can let these people feed you these compromises all you want, or you can be like, no, this is wrong. You feel me? I mean, Cyborg is an important character, and I really like him. You feel me? He's been an important character in the Justice League and Teen Titans, and he should have a substantial role in the film. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you should stand by the actress. Like Kiersey Clemons is a good actress. I get that she's not like the actress. I mean, the iteration of Iris West that or from the comics, but we should still at least give her a chance until we see what she does. Like all of these things are that really hard to ask? And it's like, what I mean? It's like, it's like, yeah, I do have a problem with like the Superman's face being fucked up, especially if they had footage of his face not being fucked up. Right? So it's like just start being a person that just stands for what's right.
Yeah.
It's not really about all the extra shit. In reality, like, you see all these people today.
It's not about pleasing people outside of yourself.
Yeah, who are just happy to see Ray Fisher get his redemption. You feel me? They don't care how he paints it or what how he gets it. They don't care if he paints it as a victory for the black man, or a victory for him as an actor, or a victory for him as a Justice League cast. They're just happy that, you feel me, him as an actor, you feel me, who was an up and coming actor. You feel me? He was also a back actor who do have their hard time getting into Hollywood. Finally got to get this opportunity to get his performance out there, along with a slew of other people. You feel me? For the world to see. You feel me? Like, that makes people feel good, and they don't have to focus on all anything else outside of that, really. You feel me? If they want to, they can, and they'll learn why it's very important. But people can appreciate that on just that alone. Like, yeah, I feel you. Like, if that was me in that moment, I would feel good too. Like speak your truth, man. Like, speak the truth. So, like, yeah. What do you think, Kojay?
I think, shoot, I agree. Nothing much I can add to that, because the whole thing about this movement is truth, and I figured that's something that we were always fighting for, you know, because pretty much what we got was a fabricated, corporate orchestrated lie to our faces, with and they had the assumption or the belief that we'd just buy it because exactly what you said. It's like, oh, I'll see anything Superman. I'll see anything Batman. They thought that the roster or the tools or the whatever cookie cutter shapes that they had in place was going to be safe. That they could mutilate anything, you know, and we would not even notice. And that's where I feel insulted as an audience member and as a filmmaker too. It's like, it looked like they spent a lot of money to pull a fast one and to get all the riches and to do a hard reset, but act like it's a soft reset. You know what I mean? Over someone's work, who someone tirelessly, from what I understand, works to make something real and substantial and artful that'll last for all time. You know, that's what you want to make, and that's what I consider art and film. So these people are really like, you know, like villains making stories of good people, and it doesn't work, and the truth has to come out because everything they've done is try to make money by covering the truth, and I don't like that. And a little segue, but I kind of want to congratulate you, brother, and me, because we called all this stuff. If you listen to our source wall, which if you have, thank you so much. If this is like your first one, do check out the other ones. We've been at this for a while, and we've been calling a lot of this stuff. We've been on Jeff Johns. We've been on what's been going on.
We've been on
all
his
this
neck.
stuff on it, and all this stuff has come to pass. Even remember our episode? I forgot what number, but what episode when it's the weights of Snyder that posted and said 520, and you and I said that could most likely, possibly 99% be 100% the date that they announce it. And when did they announce it? 520.
520. Yeah,
So that and other things, your boys here at Sourcewell, we got your back, and we've been fighting for. We've been speaking our truths, and I'm just.
We also called out how Whedon was a piece of shit a minute ago, and that Jeff Johns was most likely a creep.
Yeah.
You been said that.
Justice League. I'm talking about Johns, Whedon, mostly always. We always have the guest appearances of Toby Emmerich and John Berg. Fuck you too. It's like all these people, but we've been on it. And thank you for listening to us and being on this. And this is your first time to check it out, because truth is the truth.
Yeah,
I hate saying that.
I think it's been a long time coming of people trying to deny this stuff when they just believe any bullshit about Zack Snyder with zero proof or reason of character to believe he would do or be that type of way.
Right.
Whereas you got whole articles and people coming out and saying all this stuff about Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns, and y'all are just heading to saying like, oh man, what are you talking about? But as soon as somebody says one thing about Zack Snyder, you feel me, y'all running with it hard. But okay, but we've been validated once again.
Yep.
And I know that maybe a lot of y'all saw it and thought that this was gonna get wrapped up smoothly, and like, oh yeah, the Snyder Cut's gonna come out and it's gonna come out smoothly, and there's no the boat is not gonna be shaken. The boat's about to get shaken. You feel me? I don't even know why they got Jeff Johns at DC Fandom, but we about to make it hell for him.
I think they got him there because of the TV shows he's involved with.
Yeah, of course.
But he's on his way
out. He
out.
don't need to be there. Yeah, he don't need to be there. Need to get him up out of there.
It's just one of those digital cons that some people probably know.
That's why these Jeff Johns fans and these Joss Whedon, or whatever is left of Joss Whedon fans, are salty because they know you about to dig in their chest. You feel me? Like,
Yo, even Jeff Johns fans are fake too, because I've seen a lot of them uh, be like, "Yeah, Jeff Johns sucks." I was like, "Whoa, weren't you riding hard for Jeff Johns? Wow, this is interesting."
yeah, they're changing their tune now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to be on the wrong side of history.
Oh man, it's like now that's another thing I want to bring up. One thing I have noticed is that yes, a lot of our enemies, a lot of the Snyder Cut enemies, have changed their tune, but they haven't uh, changed their habits. Like they're still the scummy scoopers. It's just that they all of a sudden are Snyder Cut fans, and we've seen a few of them in 40 Club do this especially, but we're seeing more of them too. And I feel like we're getting some dumb whack ass information sometimes just for the sake of their own clout, just for clickbait. And sometimes it feels like, granted, I like it now more than before when all the people were kind of just hating us and what we love, but it's kind of just as bad that their bad habits of how they went hard at us is now being put to use in favor of us. But it still sucks because it's like, man, y'all have scummy bad habits. I don't like it. Especially with the clickbait. And then these people acting like they know more than Zack Snyder. That always bothers me. Even when people are doing a digital picture, quote, quote, correcting the look of Henry Cavill's Superman in Man of Steel, I think that's an insult too to Zack Snyder's work, because then you're saying, hey, you sucked, I could do it better. It's like, fuck you. And then you're supposed to be a fan of his work? Come on now.
Yeah, I agree.
So we got a lot of fakeness going around. And I thought it was just funny because I didn't even need to call it out, but we have hardcore Jeff Johns people, some of them in the
I want to add something to that too.
And now they're like, fuck you, Jeff Johns. Not when we were saying it, not when we were telling all this stuff. But wow, they're like, okay, yeah, I never liked him ever. I was like, psh, okay. All right, I'm done. You go.
But yeah, like, one thing I want to add to that is like, yeah, I hope a lot of people, to stop listening to these damn journalists and these damn vloggers, yo. Like you feel me? Like Black Man has said, bruh, these blogs be lying to y'all, man. For real, like, and it's really getting ridiculous at this point. And whoever's out here pushing the blogger line or the corporate line at this point should just be ignored or ridiculed. But these motherfuckers don't know shit. You feel me? Like, and then when stuff like this happens, you got all them coming out here standing up for these corporate douchebags and these executive douchebags, and you know what I mean. You got them saying these motherfuckers out here standing up for Jeff Johns and John Berg, and they're calling out fucking Ray Fisher and saying he's being unprofessional for ruining their comic book fun, I guess, and ruining their entertainment and their film fun. Like, stop giving these motherfuckers burn. Like, it's ridiculous at this point that even people like this are able to maneuver through not well, they don't maneuver through the movement. They don't maneuver through the Snyder Cut movement at all. But they do maneuver through you feel me, other fandoms. And the fact that y'all be letting these dudes maneuver even through the fandom like this is like, everybody can have their stances and their beliefs and all that, but stop supporting these damn sellouts, please. Stop supporting these sellouts, because when you need the people that are real, that actually stand on, have an honorable stance, they ain't gonna be around, because y'all propped up all these damn sellouts that are only gonna fucking take checks for, you feel me, for fucking movie reviews and video game reviews and other reviews. Even YouTube reviews. So,
right?
It's like enough with this nonsense. Enough, like.
I was gonna add something to that, but I totally forgot.
You can tell that these guys, that they survive.
Oh yeah, I remember.
By suckling at the teat of Warner Brothers and other fucking studios. By bowing to them and washing their balls. And you feel me, and giving them free good reviews so they can get in inclusivity and exclusivity certain rumors, projects, things of that nature. They get their little goodie bags. It's so obvious at this point.
Not
It's
just
so
that,
obvious at this
it's also
point.
their own agenda
They
narrative.
people never side with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
They never side with filmmakers who aren't fucking corporate sellouts. They only side with the studio every time in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Every time. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I have to say on that. Just you still entertain these people. That's it, man. Like for real.
And man, oh man, oh man.
Oh yeah, and shout out to Fiona and Ronaldo and all that, because you know they were definitely on this and calling this shit out for a minute, and people were
Yo,
like,
they've been
"Oh
there
man,
from day one.
they're toxic and they're attacking other creators and filmmakers," and but y'all didn't want to hear that these guys are pieces of shit though. So y'all was wrong. Take the L. You feel me? They're heroes. Y'all not.
It's very simple. It's very easy.
I mean, that even goes for a lot of you that are in the movement too, that didn't even start getting on Jeff John's case until like year 2, and even leading into year 3. Come on, LBG. There was a lot of y'all that was giving people a lot of shit for calling this stuff out, and there was a lot of y'all that didn't even start saying anything until we were throwing all this evidence in your face. And you could have been calling this out more earlier if you just trusted your fellow man and you trusted, you feel what I mean, your fellow fan, you feel me, and you trusted the breadcrumbs that the people that worked on the real Justice League film laid for you. But instead, you let the journals and the vloggers incept your mind, you know, and you couldn't see it was clearly right there. Like people, the one thing that always gets me is that people actually, to this day, actually think that Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder are friends. And Zack Snyder, if he had the choice to bring on anybody else to finish a movie by him, he would choose Joss Whedon. Out of all the filmmakers that Zack Snyder knows, he's going to pick Whedon while he literally has a whole team of filmmakers that are working on the DCEU behind him.
Yeah, I would even see Zack Snyder giving it to James Gunn more than Joss Whedon, really.
Man, I would see him giving it to James Wan over either of those guys.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's also Ben Affleck, who's right there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also Rick Famuyiwa.
Actually, now that you say it,
around at the time.
realistically, yeah, it would be one of those guys.
There was even Patty Jenkins, who I would have not picked, but still, she was there. And you know what's so funny about that with Patty Jenkins? And that's why it's kind of funny that she always said that, like, it is like a boom, like, Patty, why didn't you finish the JL film? Like, oh, well, that's too many characters, and I never really like JL. I don't like continuity. That stuff doesn't matter to me. All those big universes and stuff. Like, oh my God, I don't like Gal Gadot and how she was casted as Wonder Woman. I didn't like Kenny Nelson.
She's been very vocal of her displeasure a lot, and a lot of it is all the things she doesn't like is all the things that make Zack Snyder great, if you noticed.
Yeah, she's a hater. So if you're wondering why Patty Jenkins didn't do it, because I guess she just didn't like anything that was going on. She didn't like Justice League. She didn't like how all the movies were connected into a continuity. She didn't like the Wonder Woman that they chose for the film. She didn't even like the character that played Wonder Woman's mother. I mean, the actress that played Wonder Woman's mother, Connie Nelson. She didn't like that Wonder Woman was set 100 years. Was walked away from man for 100. She didn't like anything really. She doesn't like all those characters, and she doesn't. So, like, what the fuck? And this is what we've been having to deal with for a while. Like, so it's good to see stuff cleared up, man. Notice how she's never came out once to support Zack Snyder. When it comes to the Zack Snyder's Justice League.
In fact, she was quick to say no one's watched it and no one knows anything, or we're not. She's very snappy with it too. Like, no, stop, I'm not doing that. It's very aggressive.
And her film is the next DC film coming up, technically, but I think they pushed that. I think they pushed that back to November. Because they said that some people still think, Tenet might still get moved back. And I don't think they'll move Wonder Woman again unless Tenet gets pushed back like twice.
That makes sense. I
If
think
they,
it might get pushed back though, honestly. I have this
yeah, I
feeling.
don't think Tenet's gonna play in August either. I
Yeah, I
think
don't
it's
think
gonna
so.
come out
I
probably
think it'll come
maybe
out winter.
October.
Mm.
Damn, really, yeah. And Wonder Woman might get pushed back again.
Or they might do the digital release. Because they did that with Scooby Doo, didn't they?
Yeah, and I hate I have to go back and check exactly what happened and what went on with the with the delay of Wonder Woman 84, but from what Patty Jenkins said, and it could be corporate bullshit, but we're just go off what she said since so many people love to do that. From what she
Mm-hmm.
said, I guess she wanted to push the film back, but I always thought she was gassing anyway. You know,
Yeah?
she said she wanted to push the film back, and there was other things that they wanted to do, and she made it seem like it was a good thing because she wanted a specific date and time for
Mm.
this film to come out. But like whatever, cool. But that was I said back then that was probably the stupidest thing that they ever did when it came to Wonder Woman. When they pushed back that film like almost a whole year for like almost no reason, and then they really gave you no real reason of why, and they just played off the fact that like, all right, nobody's really paying attention to DC films right now. Yeah, we're delaying Wonder Woman, and yeah, it's gonna be all right. I want this date, and she didn't give you any real, from what I read, if I remember, they didn't give you any real reason of why they did that.
Mm.
They just said they just did it in the sense, because we wanted to. We think it'll be great. It was like, and look what's happening now. So I wouldn't be surprised if Patty Jenkins feels the pressure if she really did back, or was like one of the main factors in pushing back the Wonder Woman film. Maybe there was some reshoots or things they wanted to add that make it take it away from the DCEU even farther. But who knows right now until we see it. But it really is interesting thinking back that this film could have came out in 2019, and now it may not be out until 2021 or close to it.
It's a crazy time warp, man, because it's like we're finally getting Justice League, the real one, the one that was made for us, the one that was promised, the one that was finished. It's like we're getting that now at the time when we should be coming off of Cyborg film and going into Justice League Part 2. It's like all this time that was wasted, man.
Yeah, all this time and that's the real shame about it too, because at the end of the day, even though us as that's in the movement benefited from the time that WB was just miraculously just wasting. Like it was just, I haven't seen time wasted in such a fashion in ever. For me, really.
Time,
So
money, talent.
and we
Oof.
yeah, we benefited from that because we were able to rally and bolster the movement and get the fans together to get this get everybody behind this getting this cutout, getting the Snyder cutout. But it's also was kind of a bad thing because in the overall picture, because if none of this stuff didn't happen and all this bullshit with Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon, you know what I mean? And because to be honest, the DCEU, I don't let it sound fucked up, but the DCEU could have took the L of Batman v Superman getting bagged on. The DCEU could have took the L of even Suicide Squad being re-edited a little bit. Re-edited a lot, not a little bit. But when they fucked up that Justice League movie, bro, that shit set back things so much. And I'll tell you why. Because even though people bagged on BVS, Snyder's films are always films that get better with time. And like most majority of his films are. So maybe we were naive for thinking that with his fans that it would just be the same thing. Like, all right, they're going to say it's whack, and then like in a few months they're going to say it's hot. For me, they start, and that's what they always do with Zack Snyder. Like, actually, is this film actually good? And did we just not get it? That's what they always do with his movies. But
That's what
anyway,
they've been
and
doing with
that's
Man of Steel last month.
yeah, and that's what happened with BVS. The same thing. You feel me? As soon as the Ultimate Edition came out and more people started seeing it, they're like, hey, actually, this movie's good. So anyway, if they just would have moved forward, you feel me, stuck with what they like. All right, the Suicide Squad thing worked, but it didn't work that well. But we'll run with it. They could have just let Zack Snyder do Justice League, have that come out, be a banger. Then they could have went back. It's like, oh, we still have some footage on the floor for Suicide Squad. Let's release another version of Suicide Squad like we did for BVS. We'll add 30, 40 minutes of whatever footage that David Ayer had left. While all this is going on, they're still going down the same line that they were supposed to. And they're just making these, like, then it's the Batman and Flash, Cyborg, Justice League 2, like you said. But that Justice League shit was so important to where things were going. And also important to maybe Jeff Johns trying to steal the universe as well, that when that shit fell through, everything fell through. And they didn't know what the fuck to do. And they probably didn't know what to do for 3 years. They was probably lost. Like, damn, what the fuck? Like, cause instead of just moving forward, it's saying, cause every studio, especially when you're doing things like this, you're gonna take some chances, be a little wary on things. But the whole Justice League thing was asinine. It's like, even with the David Ayer thing, it's like, all right, it's one thing. It's fucked up that they re-edited his film without him. That's fucking stupid. That's just stupid alone. Like, why would you do that? But if you're gonna do that, then okay, fine, whatever.
That happened to one of my projects, man. That feeling.
But it's just a miracle that it came out decent. It is, because it really just goes back to how well the film that David Ayer probably shot was. Like, because there was a lot of things about that edit. There's a good film in that movie. Let me just put it like that. I don't want to go in.
We just have to release it.
And the Suicide Squad cut that there's out, there is a good film in that movie. It's not the same situation as Justice League.
No.
But with Justice League, they took a movie that was already in post, damn near done already, and then reshot a whole bunch of shit and hodgepodge it with a bunch of stuff with stuff that I guess they liked from what Snyder shot, and just mashed it together and called it a movie. You feel me? Like, it was like, what the fuck? Y'all crazy. You feel me? Like, it was way beyond. And yet it had an even bigger effect, because it was supposed to set up a lot of stuff moving forward. And the movie was so bad that it didn't even warrant Jeff Johns or Joss Whedon and John Berg to be able to move forward with what they wanted to do, really.
Yeah. And here's the best way I could describe the difference with, like, Zack Snyder's Justice League and fucking Justice League. It's like, I know Zack Snyder's work, and I know from his posts what it's like. I'm very confident I will love this film. I'm very hopeful and not surprised if it becomes my favorite film, because I know he was building up to it. I know how he works, and he always surprises us, and everything you said, it gets better with time. So I know it's a quality piece, and I feel it's like a film that's like a poem that's etched in stone, hitting the hammer on the little pick to make all those things. I feel like that's the quality of film it was. It was like every gesture and writing the words was important and had meaning, and it was beautiful, and it was going to stand the test of time. What we got with Justice League was a fucking ransom note, cutting out the letters from different newspaper clippings and magazines and putting it together to create a little sentence. That's what Justice League was.
Yeah.
And that's totally different from Suicide Squad, because Suicide Squad was like edited by, a trailer house, and they already have the concept of, hey, we need to do pace and flow and get a story with a goal to get people excited about it. So they came in with that. But with Justice League, it's like someone else with a different agenda, a group of people with a different agenda, doing the most expensive changes to pull a fast one over the audience's eyes and get what they want, so they could create an empire to make a lot of money. for
Yeah,
themselves. Who
and
cares
not even
about the
not to
product?
make a movie
Who cares
better,
about the hard work?
just to
Who cares
just
about the
to make
talent?
the movie different.
Just to make the movie
Cause
different. Yes, I don't think it was better. I don't think
they all they wanted
they
to do
cared
was
about
make the
better.
movie
They thought
different.
it was a sell. I think.
Because even if you would have just said the stuff in the Justice League movie on paper to any DC fans, the original Justice League movie, they would have stopped you halfway through and said, "Wait, shut the fuck up! No more spoilers. Give me the damn movie. I need this now." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how good even just the write up of Zack Snyder's Justice League was. So they weren't trying to make a better movie or in a sense, just or finish the movie. They just wanted to make a different movie that was like other movies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have Zack Snyder over here that's going with the Pacific direction. He's leaning into mythology and gods, and you feel what I mean? He's taking a lot of influence in films like Lord of the Rings and Excalibur. And he's also taking a lot of influence from the comics as well. You feel me? A lot of the best comics and even a lot of the old school comics, and melding this universe. And Justice League was supposed to be the film that would have brought it all together. And then you have these, like you said, this other set of people that's over here that's trying to come in and essentially just take this movie and make it into a Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's people out there that do like Justice League and they do enjoy it, and they think it's a film that should just survive
Yeah, I've
on its
heard of
own
those
merits.
people. I haven't
But
met
you
any.
should they should at least understand the fact that this movie is a betrayal to DC fans only because it tried so hard to be something that it's not, something that DC fans don't want, and which is a Marvel movie. Like
Mm-hmm.
and they did it in such a blatant way, and they even tried to bring back the old scores and everything to make it like more like, oh look, we're all nostalgia and everything. It's like no, it's like DC fans love nostalgia, but we're all about moving forward too. We want to see things go full circle. We don't want to keep bringing stuff back, and if we're just gonna say like, oh, there's only one Batman theme, only one Superman theme, only one Wonder Woman theme, it's like, all right, then why are we even making anything new then? There should only be one of these movies then. Let's just make one Wonder Woman movie, one this, one that, one that,
And
and
that's it. How
then
about it?
that's it. And we'll just do it for every character down the line until it's done.
See, that's another thing what I think is selfish. It's like we we already have access to those classic old school style. The Christopher Reeves films are completely rewatchable. I've watched them a few times again,
Yeah,
and
they are
they are
rewatchable.
not gone. And Russell Crowe said it too, and I believe this, that a reboot or whatever is just another story. It's not really erasing anything. It's adding to it. Look how many fucking comic books we have of different eras of Batman or Captain America or even Deadpool. Even I have comics where he's been like a villain. I have comics where he's a in between or wild card, and I have another. Also have comics where he's flat out hero, and he stopped killing and stealing from people and being like just a murderous psychopath. He's actually like a good guy now. He's normal, and then it's like all that's not erased. It's just a sign of times. It's just different stories, different generations, and that's to be respected because that's how these characters grow and are everlasting. Otherwise, they stay stagnant, and then
Yeah,
unfortunately, you get uncreative people like I have some good ideas for Fantastic Four to do, but um, for me to do that, I would have to be given the opportunity and also the okay to do my story. And even though, as I feel, it is in true to the characters, other people will go, "Oh no, this isn't the way it's always done. Do it this way." Oh, the way it's always done, which is stuck in that time period and not coming forward. Good job. Then no one can move. And does injustice to
yeah,
the comic characters too, because all that bullshit. Because look, I think Cyborg, not just Ray Fisher, but Cyborg the character, Ray Fisher and Cyborg, I feel they are connected in the sense that when New 52 happened, true, Cyborg was promoted from Teen Titans to Justice League, but other than their origin tale, they rarely used Cyborg. He never had time to shine. His own comic book line did not sell. His storylines were pretty dull, recycled stuff from other storylines. It was very flat and whatever. And His role
Yeah,
in Justice
Cyborg
League
Cyborg
wasn't that
is best
prominent.
in groups.
Yeah,
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 definitely around those times.
yeah, but
Yeah.
even in groups, he shines really well. Like even some Teen Titans comics, they had one where before he married Sarasim, um, he faced another Cyborg 2.0, which is someone he knew, masking as him, and then those two had to go at it and fight each other. And it was a really decent story. It was really cool. And
Because Cyborg is very much a big brother character,
yeah,
even in the Justice League, he
yeah, but
plays
they
that
don't use
same.
that, and that happened during New 52. Again, another Jeff Johns change, and then we have Justice League, another Jeff Johns change, and then Cyborg gets screwed again.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like the John Stewart thing all over again. It's like,
Like
nah, I
if
don't
you
like a
watch
Green
like
Lantern be a
things
black
like,
guy. We're gonna change it to how I want the monochromatic ways.
yeah, you were totally right about that. And it is kind of it's like a conflicting thing with his portrayals throughout certain things because in other comics, like even in like Justice League by Scott Snyder, even in the most recent one, like the Cyborg is even in Justice League Odyssey. Like he's a very prominent character,
Mm-hmm.
and he plays that that big brother role. Like you feel what I mean, where he's not like the father figure, but he's a very oak tree supporting character for the rest of the group, and he's there to balance them in that sense, and he does the
Mm-hmm.
same thing for the Justice League too, in certain senses where they have all this stuff going on with them, and in a way, Cyborg is capable of bringing it all together in certain ways, whether it be strategically or with his with his technological prowess or just maybe with his personality, and it's the same thing with Teen Titans, like. So I think they should definitely keep that going. I think that's why Zack Snyder chose to make Cyborg the heart of the film, because that's essentially what Cyborg's character is amongst all these groups. You know what I mean? Like he's Cyborg, but in a way, he's kind of like the most introspective and the most human amongst them. You feel me?
He's the most
Based on
heartfelt one.
yeah, yeah, 'cause he's a very considerate character. You feel me? And especially if you go read his solo comics, he's a role model. You feel what I mean? And he's not like a character like Superman, where it's like, oh hey, you're Superman, and it's like he's a hero in the sky. Like Cyborg is definitely made way more of a like ground level,
Yeah,
like you
he's
feel
in the
me,
trenches with
role
you.
model. Yeah, that people see and they like, hey, that's Cyborg. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, that's why in
he
Flashpoint he was the Superman of that time.
yeah, he inspires people in a different way because he used to be a person just like them. It's a regular person, and you feel me. And they kind of see him grow up and become this hero, and he's still there in his neighborhood, like and in the area where he's from, and he uses that to pretty much uplift society in a sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
by being that type of role model, and not having it be a crutch on his life, like so. I think there's gonna like, with all that being said, I think there's gonna be some very interesting stuff we're gonna see out of Cyborg in Justice League 2.
Mm.
Just to end it on that. But I hope all that stuff kind of comes to an end, because even I watched Justice League back in time like yesterday, and they had a scene, and they had Cyborg and Superman and I think Batman teaming up. You feel what I mean? A lot in that movie,
Mm.
and that's what I mean. It just goes that he's a very capable character, like, but it's all about how he's being used in certain senses. So, and that's why even when it comes to Justice League, it was like how Cyborg was used was so bad, because it's like it's already the issue of how they treat like CGI actors, and they're usually people of color. You feel what I mean? Who get minimal roles that cover up most of their likeness for the most part. But then when they get pushed in a corner and their character doesn't really do
Yeah, we're gonna
much, they
make you
just
blue aliens on Pandora. All the
yeah
everything.
they just
We're
look
gonna make
like
you get more. You're gonna
stand-ins.
be green.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and if the character has no depth, they just become stand-ins.
Mm-hmm.
You're just they might as well just be their whole character might as well be CGI. Because they're not doing much. So
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think what the performance in Justice League paid any justice to Ray Fisher or the character of Cyborg at all.
Yeah, unfortunately. That is correct, my man.
But yeah, you want to end on a high note though?
Always. Snyder Cut's coming out, baby. Woo! I can't wait for that film. What other high notes you got? That's my number one.
Well, things are just looking up. You know, things are looking up for DC. There's definitely going to be some
Ooh.
surprises at DC Fandom. They also
Speaking of
talked
that,
about
fandom.
another Batman game. You know, if you have any questions for Zack Snyder or any other DC
Yes.
related people, you can go to DC Fandom. I think the website and apply your questions. I already put in a few. I'm probably gonna put in a few again
And we were talking about that
later in the
not too
week.
long ago. We should be spamming that with a bunch of questions. Not just keep doing the same question. Actually take time, think something thoughtful. Do like 4 or 5, whatever amount you want. Maybe one, that's cool too. But I think everyone should be giving that a lot of attention so Zack Snyder gets the attention and platform that he deserves.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so you can do that right now. In fact, I'll probably do it later tonight too. I thought of some new questions, so I'll throw it on his way. And that's going to be cool
And
too.
and outside of Zack Snyder Justice League, hopefully we just get some good DC films now, and we stop getting all this booty Marvelized stuff. Hopefully they've learned their lesson, and the last, you know, 20 films that we get are Wonder Woman 84 and Suicide Squad 2.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn's Suicide Squad. We're just gonna leave it at that. Because hopefully after that, and it's just all looking up. But cause I
Yeah,
don't really
even
think
for an
those
air
films are
cut,
gonna
I
be
think
that
that's
great.
coming out too, bro. Soon.
Yeah, I think there's good chances. There
Mm-hmm.
is good chances. The Air is doing the thing to ride off the DC buzz. That's what he needs. That's what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he felt like there was a point in engaging with fans before, but it's like that's what he needs to do, man. Build traction out there. You feel me? Build rapport and everything. Like you don't got to talk to fans every day, but make a little bit of contact and show them some love and all that, and people will definitely push for you when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And I think that people are responding well to him talking about Suicide Squad more and giving more details about the film. It's also revealing a lot more people that like the film and might have wanted to see more. And if there was things that disappointed them about it, maybe he's giving them hope that maybe if there's another version that can come out that can be more to their liking. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he continues it, and when it gets closer to release of the Snyder Cut, we can get more about it, hear more about it, but never know. We could hear something at DC Fandom too about. I hope it's not whack for one thing, but I think they're gonna reveal a decent amount of stuff about DC and what's about to go down. I think DC may have learned and realized that y'all were low key trying to fucking ride off Marvel's coattails for no reason because of Hollywood money. Y'all need to fall back, regroup, and realize that y'all are DC Comics. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And come out with some dope projects that people would think is cool. Like, you can't be having a whack Justice League movie out there. Got the Snyder Cut coming. Hopefully, Batfleck comes back, and at this point, I would prefer a show over a movie because the movies are the one and done.
For
Well,
Batfleck,
not
right?
well, yeah, one and done at least till a few years later till they
I
make the
think,
next one. But
yeah, I think if they really
if I
want
can
to,
get
yeah, go on.
if I get like 10 hours of Batfleck, I'm good.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because what works for Mandalorian, they picked a character who's like a badass, someone without powers and gadgets, Boba Fett. Well, not really Boba Fett, but the Mandalorian. A lot of people know Mandalorians, how they roll, how they look. It's very iconic. And do a series of that. And the equivalent to would be Batman. He is without powers, a bunch of gadgets, and a badass, and kind of like a wandering hero in his domain. So if they really want to have that success of the Mandalorian, the Batman with Batfleck, that's the way to do it. And Snyder definitely has the resources to make that happen. And
Yeah.
on top of that, I also want to share something that Fiona shared earlier today. A little
Go for
cyborg
it.
celebration for social media, Borg Life. On Friday, July 10th, we throw him up for Ray Fisher. We need to let AT&T know that we still and always will want our Ray Fisher cyborg movie. So next Friday, at the time provided, we want you to tweet a selfie with Borg Life hand sign. We need you to tag AT&T and HBO Max, and of course adding the hashtag Borg Life. After that, we want you to tweet all day about how important it is that we get a cyborg movie in the current climate. I don't know why they wrote climate. But anyways, oh crap, where is this? What did my phone do? Oh, there we go. When we needed Ray, he was there for us. Now he needs us. Let's show him the support he deserves. And I'm down with that. And he's got this little, looks like from one of his game streams, he did this little hand logo that looks like a B and an L, but he placed it on the side of his face where he does have the cybernetics and the covered eye. I don't know, maybe that should be our cover. But anyways, it's really cool. Fiona put that on Twitter. I shared it on Sourcewell for us, but it's also on my page as well. And I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I
That'd
don't
be
think I've
cool.
seen that.
Alright, I'll send it your way, B. I thought you saw it
I'm
already.
not.
Alright, well, there you go. I got something new for you for once.
Yeah. Cause I'm on Twitter for the most part. I don't really maneuver through other social medias like that.
No, it was on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I guess I just did see it then.
Yeah, it was a blink. But yeah, we'll get that going. I want to get that going because it's a good idea. And I think it's a good way to show Ray Fisher our support, especially when some fools are saying that he's hurting his career. Nah, he's building his career in the right way. And with all this truth and honesty coming out, maybe this is a time to return to honest filmmaking. You can't do it without being open and honest. So I welcome it, and I want to get his back and show my support.
Well said, man.
Thank you. On that note, you got any closing final thoughts for our wonderful, beautiful audience?
Yes, I do. Fuck Jeff Johns. Fuck Joss Whedon. Fuck John Berg. All my friends hate them niggas. Release a Snyder cut. Zack Snyder's JL coming on HBO Max 2021, motherfucker. Starring Ray Fisher.
Borg Life.
Borg Life.
And on that, be well. I guess we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Late.